Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is Neil with Portal to Ascension. How are you all doing? Good to be here with you all early morning in Thailand. And welcome to all that are tuning in today. And today's stream is a topic that is close to my heart. What is outside the universe? So, what I'm doing is over the next few weeks, these are kind of my rants, guys. There's so many things that come to my mind and my consciousness that I want to speak about, and I create a list of them on my phone or my computer, and this is one of them. And over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing a few of those, including the interdimensional extraterrestrial stream that's going to be happening. We also have the reptilian 3-day part series that's going to be happening soon. But this topic today, so you're a part of a rant, a philosophical rant. What is outside the universe? And I would love for you guys to contribute, say hi, tune in, and let's have a conversation about this. I'm curious what you guys think as well. So we're going to be going down. I have a PowerPoint presentation. I want to say hello to everybody on our podcast because we also have Portal to Ascension Radio. You can tune in there. You don't need to see the slides for this because I'm going to be reading everything out. But I want to tell you why I'm curious about this. If you know anything about my story, there was a main reason why I got into doing these type of events or just being into this information in general. Hey Andrea, hey Cole, hey Angie, nice to see you guys in here. And the reason why I started this because I was looking for the root of all religion. Okay, I saw all these similarities in the religion I was raised, Hinduism, with Christianity. Then I found the Epic of Gilgamesh and saw the flood stories, and I started seeing flood stories around the world. And I was like, wait a second, there's some collective experience. Is there a root of all religion? That was the initial into all of this. And then when I started becoming even more philosophical about the nature of reality, which was like pretty soon, like a year into my awakening, I started wondering. Yep. Actually, Aliyah, just comment here. Aliyah is saying, have you seen where the Vatican's coming out saying angels are basically aliens and UFOs? Yes, I actually posted that about the last couple of days. I've been posting that on our Instagram. So yes, definitely, that's an interesting topic, and we will be doing a whole stream on that as well. Okay, so when I started wondering the root of all religion, the second question came to me was, what's outside the universe, right? Because I was thinking that if the universe is such an ever expanding place, my human mind is wondering, well, what's outside that expanding place? I don't know if you guys remember, but when we were being raised, there was the contracting theory of the universe, right? The universe expands and then it contracts, right? Do you guys remember that? And so it's almost like a breath of God, right? That is expanding and then soon it's going to collapse. And one day it's going to collapse back into the Big Bang. And right now, everything's expanding so much that planetary bodies and galaxies are getting further and further away from each other. And eventually, it's going to come back in and coalesce to infinite matter, infinite size. I don't know if you guys know this or got the memo, but that theory was thrown out almost a decade ago. To another theory about the universe expanding continuously always, right? Because they don't actually see evidence in the expansion of the universe for it slowing down, which is what they thought they were going to originally see. What they do see is the universe is exponentially going faster and faster in expansion. So it's not just expanding, it's exponentially expanding even quicker. So now the theory is, right, that one day all the galactic bodies, all the planetary bodies are going to be so far away from each other that we will just be in vast space. We won't be able to see stars in the sky, right? That is the new prevailing theory. So that with that being said, so my mind was like, well, the human mind always wonders like what's outside this. Outside of my hand is this room. Outside of this room is the country, Earth, and so on and so forth. So what is outside the universe? And then we have all these theories that I'm going to go through in a moment here, like the multiverse theory. But what's outside the multiverse, right? And if the multiverse is a part of a membrane that is connected to other multiverses, what's outside those other multiverses? When does it end? And does it end? So this is now this component I'm going to speak about right now. We'll do a separate stream on the holographic universe theory and everything being a simulation. So early in 2001, 2002, 18, 19 years old, I started wondering, could this be holographic in some nature? Because my human mind can't grasp the infinite expansion into just a void, like what's outside it and what is it even expanding into, right? But one thing I can understand is if we have a computer program or some sort of game, we can code in the illusion of expansion infinitely, right? So could it be working on some level like that? So today's conversation, we're just going to be having a kind of a fun conversation here of, what are the different theories of what could be outside the universe, and then we're going to end with my personal belief. So I'd love for you guys as we're going through this. Please do check in, say hi in the chat, and let me know what you guys think, or even have you ever even contemplated this question? When I started looking into what is outside the universe, or just thinking about it, I started realizing that it's very paradoxical, right? That our mind can only fathom finite spaces. And the reason why I know that, well, I feel I know that we're not as enlightened as we can be, is the fact that we can only think of space as something needs to be outside of it, whereas we can now prove through our technology that there may not be anything outside of it, but it's continuously expanding. What is it expanding into? Therefore, our minds are programmed in a way to not be able to fathom what we're perceiving. Let me say that again. Our minds are programmed in a way that we're not able to fathom what we're actually perceiving the universe doing. Just like quantum physics, our minds are programmed in a way that we're not able to fathom and conceptualize how the subatomic world is acting compared to the Newtonian world, right? Subatomic particles vibrate in and out of reality. The subatomic particles are not physical. Well, guess what the Newtonian atomic world is made out of? The subatomic world. So there's paradoxes within the universe. And the paradoxes, you can check out some of my other presentations on the YouTube. Actually, you can go to youtube.com portal to ascension, check out my video on the paradoxes. And the fact that the human mind is unable to reconcile the paradox makes me realize that we're not at the evolutionary state that we are heading towards. So let's begin. I already shared this here, my journey of curiosity, the limitations of my mind. That's just what I shared as well. And now some of the theories. Okay, we're going to break down these theories here. Well, the first theory that I mentioned before is the multiverse theory. This theory suggests that our universe is just one of many universes collectively forming a multiverse. Each universe within the multiverse may have different physical laws, constants, or dimensions. Some variations of this theory propose an infinite or finite number of universes, each with its own unique properties. So, to expand on that theory, some, I guess, theoretical physicists and scientists are believe that maybe the laws of physics operate differently in these universes. Now, this gets into the bigger picture of like, this is a show that we're going to do next week. What is the purpose of life? Right? We're going to do that one. And if you look at some of the ancient texts and some of the spiritual teachings from India and Buddhism even, it seems like maybe the purpose to life is just to experience. That when source, God, consciousness, the Big Bang, whatever it is that happened, it created experience and physical reality. It wanted to experience itself infinitely, right? And when you experience yourself infinitely, that means, just like Solomon said, everything under the sun, including laws of physics that aren't the same as they operate now. As we're able to pierce through the veil and go into the quantum world, we're seeing that the laws of physics on the quantum level do not fit what we're perceiving in our reality. And what we're really doing, if you kind of think about it, is we are now piercing through the veil or piercing through the hologram. And we're starting to see the code that creates us, to put it very simply, right? So, number two, the brain theory. Brain theory or brain cosmology proposes that our universe exists as a three-dimensional brain embedded with a higher dimensional space called the bulk or hyperspace. Other brains may exist alongside ours, separated by higher dimensional space. Collisions or interactions between brains could lead to observable effects in our universe. Okay. So now these two theories, multiverse theory and brain theory, have some overlapping concepts because there's been speculation for ever since they've been speculating about this in astronomy over the last 100 plus years, that how did the Big Bang occur if the Big Bang even happened in the way it did? So some people believe that the different brains of the different multiverses sometimes collide with each other. And as they do that, energy exchanges from one multiverse, from one universe to another universe, from one brain to another brain, creating kind of a Big Bang, kind of an explosion, and thereby the matter and all the physical reality gets created after that. Now, here's my favorite theory, okay? The simulation hypothesis. Little disclaimer, guys, not disclaimer, more like a little announcement. Where I'm going to be doing a conference in probably the beginning of next year. Actually, no, it is next year. It's March of next year. It's called Moon and Mars Anomalies, Inner Earth, and the Simulation. Okay. So that conference is going to be, obviously, I don't need to explain it. It's going to be going into that because there's more and more evidence now. And there's even mainstream scientists, even people like Elon Musk, all saying like, they believe that this is a hologram, this is some sort of simulation, and the science is now backing up the fact that that's the case. A lot of people don't really sit well with that hypothesis, and I feel the reason why some people don't sit well with it is because that if we believe this is a simulation, a hologram, then reality isn't real, but it feels real to us. And what does that mean for our relationships and our connection? It almost seems unorganic, right? But to me, it actually takes it to a whole other level because even though we have computers in and coding and virtual reality games that could be a kind of a reflection of what's happening to us, what is really happening to us and what we really created is some sort of advanced organic version of that, some sort of holographic simulation infused with consciousness, right? And that's what's happening with AI. It's like AI right now does not have consciousness connected to it. But now the questions are, and some people are even toying with the fact of how can we extend our life by infusing our consciousness into some of these robotic, I'm not saying this is good or bad. I'm just telling you the facts of what's actually being explored. Infusing our consciousness into technology with AI, right? And is that maybe on some level like a lesser version, a lower dimensional version of what is happening to us? Some advanced beings created the code that we're existing within. So this hypothesis, simulation, suggests that a universe is a computer simulation created by advanced beings or entities. According to this idea, what lies beyond our universe could be the higher dimensional reality of the beings running the simulation. Now we have string theory. String theory is the theory from quantum physics. That's the main one that's being accepted right now. Proposes that the fundamental particles are not point-like, but instead tiny, vibrating strings. In some formulations of string theory, higher dimensional space beyond our observable universe plays a role in explaining fundamental forces in particles. These extra dimensions may be compacted or hidden from view. Now, in my opinion, string theory has a lot of truth and then also a lot of speculation based on old science, archaic information science. Now, when it comes to everything on the subatomic level being strings, well, this is because they're observing through being able to look at anything below the atom, vibrating strings. So that is actually like could be true because they're observing those strings. And it seems like everything, right? This connects more to the simulation theory than anything. It seems like everything are made out of the same, what they would call strings. But really, what it is the energy. The energy on the subatomic level is the same throughout. Imagine a TV screen where all of a sudden the show goes and it's all that static, that gray black static. That's pretty much what everything is. And it all looks the same consistently throughout when you look through it. So it's almost like a bunch of ones and zeros or computer programming in a specific code when we get down to the deeper level of it. But the question is, Why is it that we perceive people as how we perceive them? If now we can see and pierce through the veil and we see all this is that, why is there a computer in front of me? Why is there a phone? How am I able to interact with that phone? How am I able to drink this water? Because ultimately, we're now seeing that it's not really what is there. So could it be again some sort of advanced code, some sort of advanced program that has been created where all this happens? Just like how you can put on some virtual reality goggles and you can go into a world that has been simulated, right? And you can interact with people, you can drink water, you can talk to people. The new engines that they have for virtual reality games and just gaming in general, there was one, I forget how many millions, but utilizing this code, they created millions of different galaxies, planets, extraterrestrial races, just like that, right? We have a code to create a virtual reality game on that level. Okay. Now, the virtual reality game that we're creating, or the games in general, have improved over the last 50 years, right? We used to have like Super Mario style. Now we have things that look so much like reality, you can't differentiate it from reality. Now imagine 100 years down the line, 200 years down the line, 1,000 years down the line. This virtual reality simulations that we're creating, these infinite worlds, are going to get to a point where they're not even recognizable from our regular day reality. We're already at a point of singularity when it comes to AI and interacting with them, where we're able to have full on conversations with very advanced AI that you can't even know, you don't even know that these AIs in these games are actually an NPC rather than a PC, a playing character interacting with you, right? So it's getting to that point. Again, no judgment on that. I'm not giving you a good or bad take on it, but I'm saying, is it possible that a higher dimensional version of that has occurred to us? And is it possible? I'll tell you my theory actually later. I'll get into that later. So, cosmic foam. Some theories suggest that our space beyond our observable universe may resemble cosmic foam or quantum foam, filled with fluctuations in space-time at the quantum level. These fluctuations could give rise to the formation of new universes or exotic structures beyond our comprehension. And then the nothingness or void. Philosophical and metaphysical concepts propose that what lies beyond our universe may be a state of nothingness, the void, the stillness, the singularity. The singularity of a black hole could potentially, if you were able to get sucked in, go into a black hole, take you into that void space. Or, which is kind of paradoxical, pure potentiality. In the void space is the infinite potential. I really love this concept because think about the void. We're talking about physical universe void right now. Think about the similarities to the void in the meditative state. The oneness state, which is the singularity state, are the same exact thing. Just one way is metaphysical, one way is in the quantum physics world. Think about that void state. When you're at that state of stillness, at that void, what does it create? What does it cultivate? Pure potentiality within yourself when you're coming from a non-reactory state, when you're coming from a place of oneness. So this concept transcends traditional notions of space-time, representing a realm beyond human comprehension. Infinite space. Another possibility is that space continues infinitely beyond the observable universe, with no boundary or edge. In this scenario, there would be no outside to the universe. Instead, space would stretch infinitely in all directions, potentially containing an infinite number of universes or regions. So, before we move on to the next slide here, I want to show you overlaps in all of this. Okay. So, let's just say that the simulation, the holographic universe theory, may be the reality of it all, right? Almost actually, all of these theories still fit within that. Because even if you have a hologram, you can create the structure and manipulate the reality in whichever way you want. You can have a multiverse, you can have a brain theory, you can have string theory, which is the code, you can have the void, you can have infinite space, right? So you can have all of these existing within the hologram. So is it like a video game? And there's two things I want to talk about, and I don't want to forget it. So one thing, I'm just going to say it out loud right now so I remember in a minute. So one thing is the purpose of existence. Actually, let's get into it now. I'll stop my screen and I'll talk about it. So so if we are these higher projections of consciousness down into this reality, and if source wanted to experience itself infinitely, and that was the purpose of existence in the first place, and as it started experiencing itself infinitely, it started creating all this life, all this physical reality. Could it be that every time a being becomes sentient, awake, self-aware, like we are, that the original spark of source manifests in our actions? And source is creator God. Source wants to create, right? And as we see in many ancient texts, source wants to create in his image and his likeness, her image, her likeness. Ultimately, it's their image and their likeness, right? Source wants to create in that reality. So is it that we are also creating in that reality too? Because as soon as we become self-aware, aware of ourselves, aware of being aware, that spark of source of creation, we do as well. And then what is happening to us, right? How we are being embedded in this reality, how consciousness has been infused into this reality, we end up doing with the technology around us. So I would say that it kind of reality shows that. Think of computers, think of your phone, right? Not too often do we recognize that this thing is actually a device for to hold a dimension of information that is quite literally dimensional. Why is it dimensional? Well, we've created some sort of like hard drive in our phone, in our computer, that holds data, right? It holds documents, music, applications, all types of things. But if you crack these things open, you can't pull out any of those things, right? So what is a dimension? Well, to put it again very simply and very scientifically, a dimension is a data set of information that exists within that frequency bandwidth. So within the frequency bandwidth that we're in, we're able to access specific data. When we go higher in consciousness, when we go shift into different dimensions, we're now able to access higher dimensional awareness. And with that, pull in information as well. So we've created these devices on a lower dimensional scale that also holds this data. And now the next step of that is creating life. Humanity wants to create life as well, right? What we do create life, but we're now creating AI. We're creating AI in our collective image, not our individual image. AI is a collective creation of all of human consciousness and experiences. Everything we put out on the internet, everything that we've done, everything that we've recorded, right? So it's almost like our subconscious mind is in some way attempting to create what has been happened to us. Right? This is very putting it lightly. Like I'm just speaking and ranting right now. I would have to put together like a 2-hour presentation and break this down in a way where we can really go into it. So now the question that I've thought about for a while is how many layers does that go up? If we were, say, 12th dimensional, 13th dimensional beings, okay, and we are self aware and we had that spark of create in our image, I want to create in my image. Did they create lower dimensional beings and then infuse their own souls into it? And did that go down all the way into this earthly experience? Well, if you are into, I mean, if you're on Portal to Ascension, you've probably seen some of these things. But from the stories of extraterrestrials, from the stories of the civilization of Lyra and the Syrians, Arcturians, Pleiadians, and how they were all, many of them were higher dimensional beings, and how they came down to this reality, to this dimension. And so many of these stories speak about genetically creating beings. And some of them speak about genetically creating beings and then incarnating their own souls into those bodies, right? To have that lower dimensional experience. So the question is, are we doing that? And now with that question, do we get rid of the judgment of what we're creating? Because It's in our soul. We are creative beings. We want to create in our image. It's inevitable. It's going to happen like that, right? And now that gets into, again, a show that's going to be in the future, which is going to be a debate, a multiple series debate on Portal to Ascension, specifically on AI, good, bad, and all that stuff. And instead of looking at things as good or bad, is everything that we do and create kind of neutral? And then the level of consciousness that humanity has, we impose on whatever we've created neutrally. And if that's the case, wouldn't it be important for us to continue doing this inner work, to get to a place of the void within ourselves, find that singularity within ourselves, so that we can start utilizing this inevitable evolution of technology in a conscious way, right? So I think I have a few more slides. No, I have one more thing here I want to go over, but I want to tune in with you guys and see what you have been saying as well. So tell me, what out of all those theories, okay, is there one of them that you gravitate towards the most? What do you think about the simulation theory, the multiverse theory? What are your beliefs? And I'm just going to pull up some of these comments here. Here we have a comment saying string theory is such an odd theory. I always imagine us walking around as spaghetti, people say. Silly, right? That's funny. Computer, yep, yep. But also the multiverse. Those definitely overlap. So who knows what's outside the universe, right? And I would say a lot of people, they go into channel states. And actually, we've done a lot of channeled events, but I've never actually asked anyone what's outside the universe. I have asked some questions that have led to them saying that this is holographic in nature, and the whole concept of what's outside the universe in a holographic creation doesn't really matter, because there may ultimately be nothing if it's just continuously expanding in this computer program, this infinite reality. These are the questions that I feel, as we're evolving, as we're going into higher dimensional awareness, some of these questions are going to start being understood by us. We live in a paradox. The universe is finite, but it's also infinite. We exist in a finite reality, it seems, bandwidth of frequency, but it's also infinite. You are a solid being, but you're also vibrating energy, non-solid being. As we evolve, I feel that we're going to get to a point where not we don't have the idea of like not knowing anymore, but it's more about accepting the paradox. Once we accept that reality is a paradox as it is, that's one stepping stone closer to us getting towards a greater awareness of what's happening. So that's it for today, guys. I just wanted to kind of just jump on here and do a rant about this. And it's important to me. This question is important to me. Root of all religion, what's out the universe? Not important to me in trying to figure out the answer, but important to me in the philosophical understanding. Because just that question alone starts having us ask more questions. And those extra questions, it's just a stepping stone for us to really start figuring out what the nature of reality is. Okay. So I appreciate all of you guys tuning in. I'm going to end with a couple of announcements here. We do have our conference in Glastonbury coming up, which is going to be September 27th, 28th, 29th. We have tours before it. We have a tour after it. Glastonbury Conference, ascensionglastonbury.com. It's going to be a second one in the UK. So if you guys are available, please do come out. It's really fun. It's like a conference, a retreat, a guided tour, just grid work, super incredible event. And if you aren't able to attend live, you can check out the live stream, ascensionglastonbury.com. And then at the end of the year, December 14th to the 21st, we're doing our first ever cruise ship. We're on a 2,000 persons cruise ship. I wish I could get that many people, but we're going to have 200 people on the cruise ship with us. We're in a conference room. Celebrity Equinox is the cruise line. December 14th to the 21st, and we're going to be coming back on the winter solstice and have some amazing presenters there. We're going to go to Honduras, to Belize, to the Yucatan, exploring ancient sites together. And over the 7 days, there's going to be like 40 different presentations. It's going to be epic. So I'm going to end here with the trailer to that event as well. And so you guys can check it out and see what we're going to be doing. And thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you, love you so much. And again, I'm gonna keep saying it. In a couple of days, we're doing the reptilian series. Tune in to the reptilian series. It's going to be incredible. We're going to be going live at this same time right now for 3 days in a row. So starting in 2 days, 48 hours from now, 3 days in a row. And so I hope to see some of you guys there. And here we go. So have a beautiful evening, day, wherever you are on the planet. And here is the trailer for the cruise.
This year, on board Celebrity Equinox, internationally renowned researchers, authors, channelers, mystics, starseeds, and spiritual luminaries will sail on an extraordinary voyage of
All right, guys, jump back on here. My bandwidth, interesting, we're talking about bandwidths of frequency, right? Because my bandwidth here in this apartment is not good right now. So that's the thing, guys. We got to shift out of this dimension so we have better bandwidth. So because of that, I can't play the video, but check it out, galacticorigins.cruise.com, galacticorigins.cruise.com. Love and appreciate you all so much. And thank you for tuning in here. Thank you for tuning in onto our podcast, Portal to Ascension Radio. See you guys later. Bye.